I want to say enjoy classic jazz anytime via WJZZ TV, WJZZ Detroit Radio.com. And thank you for joining us. Guess what? I have a very special guest in the studio with us today. We have Roger Penzabany with us, and I will be interviewing him. Should be good.
Yeah, this will be good.
I don't know about you all, but I am so excited to be interviewing Roger Penzabany. So, Roger,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
about you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up?
Okay. So, as most people know, started off in a celebrity type household, had privilege to like private schools and parochials, all that type of stuff, right?
Well, you say that you were raised in privilege. Who was your mother and father?
Not so much raised. That's why I'm kind of to say started off because my dad is the one who provided the means to afford that type of stuff. He was a successful songwriter and producer.
So, what was your father's name?
Roger Penzabany Sr.
And what did he actually do?
He wrote songs, some notable songs that became well known or famous songs, and produced.
So he worked for Motown Records,
right in the '60s. He was kind of like I want to call it the first or second generation of Motown, and this is at Hitsville. This is before they all moved over to the building on Woodward and Chrysler.
Okay.
But so he kind of helped build Motown Corporation by contributing to the songwriting and production of it, and just the same as that generation of artists and producers and all that. So anyway,
and what about your mom?
my mother during his life was more or less a housewife, but she got into the music business at a record company, another Detroit-based record company called Golden World Records. So she did that in the early '70s after my dad was passed away.
And your father passed away while you were still relatively young. How old were you?
I was trying to count real fast. 3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and it's written. I read about your father, and it's written that he committed suicide. But let me hear yours. And I don't want to talk too much about your father,
Right.
because I know you have a special project that you're going to be doing,
Right.
and we're going to talk about that as well.
All right, so the special project is we're doing a movie, a feature film about his career, his life, and then it's a little bit of the dynamic about Detroit music business. So all those little nuances to what was happening in Detroit at that time, civil rights, a lot of different stuff that all played a part in his professional. He was disenchanted, and this is where the rumors maybe kind of come with the suicide bit. But my family has always contested that, and it's proofs to substantiate why we say it was a murder, a homicide, not a suicide. And it has to do with all the things about his career that was going on. So I'm saving that. I'll probably talk more about it here and there as we promote the film. But we started work on the production of the film. And
Who's going to play your father?
We don't know yet. We didn't do a casting yet.
Okay.
But we're going to.
Listen now, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a casting call.
Yeah.
So there's some opportunity here.
Yeah, so we're going to do our best to have local talent.
Okay.
So we don't know about the feature roles because it depends on the budget if we get some A-list type acting talent. But as much Detroit, even with the soundtrack. I've been meeting with different producers, known producers throughout Detroit that have expressed interest. So the soundtrack is going to be hot too. So
anyway. I'm so excited. Is Tasha Owens going to sing on there?
Ask Tasha. But that's another show.
Tasha.
That's another show. But I'm gonna say this though, being serious, probably.
Okay.
Probably at least Tasha have at least a couple of songs
Now,
on the track.
why did you feel that you had to do this movie?
One, the biggest reason, just to dispel all the suicide stuff, and then the comments about him and my mother's relationship. So the gist of it, and I'm saying all this is on the internet, right? This is part of the reason everybody always tell you can't believe everything you see on the internet. But they'll say, oh, they'll listen to the lyrics, right? And the lyrics might be some melancholy type of
Song.
Yeah,
because most writers write about their own personal experience.
Right. So they put that together and say, oh, well, that his wife was doing this, cheating on him, and blah 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 blah, and that's what led to him.
Well,
then,
was your mom cheating on him? Well, you were 3, so you wouldn't know,
I
right?
don't know, but I'm saying this is how I feel about it, and more stuff will come out because we're piggybacking a documentary with the feature. So a feature film has to have dramatic effect. But so nobody cares like what he did when he was 7 for the most part. So all that type of stuff will be piggybacking on a documentary film. But anyway, this is how I look at it.
What are you most looking forward to about the film? What do you
to dispel to clear up misinformation, to give some enlightenment about the music entertainment business that was just as prevalent now as it was back then. Everything that was, it's just more sophisticated now. It's and they can hide it better. Back then they didn't have to hide it too much. It was take it or leave it.
Right.
And it was kind of gangsterish. So just imagine it was, and this is not to just like beat a dead horse with the Suge Knight thing, but if you watch the movie The Five Heartbeats, that Big Red.
Oh, I love Big Red. My business hours are 9 to 5.
Yeah, so just imagine the whole industry being rife with Big Reds and Suge Knights. You know what I'm saying? So in a sense, it's like Suge Knight is not as diabolical as he has been perceived or how people have portrayed it. Maybe he did some unscrupulous business or whatever, but you can't take away that Death Row, what it did to impact for the music business, right? But from being kind of on the inside, that was normal behavior. It just, and it's still normal behavior. It just got more sophisticated, like a lot of other nefarious enterprises. So anyway,
they get better.
To answer your question, I want to dispel a lot of the nonsense. I want to correct some of the misinformation, and then it's just to shine some light on his legacy. It opened doors for me to do what I'm doing now, and to set the table and for some legacy value for my children.
Okay. So when you were younger, being involved in all of your family's drama, how did that impact you growing up? Did you have any emotions or any distress behind the rumors and being raised by a single mom?
No. For this, I mean, I don't think I'm the only child or teenager or whatever that felt like this, but here's the thing. The children are not responsible for what their parents do or don't do.
That's right.
So they have to suffer the sins of the father syndrome. But, if it's other outlets and other types of supports and things, like my whole thing was, some people had drug addicts for parents. Some people had prostitutes for parents. Some people had killers or idiots or whatever. The child is born into whatever they're born into, and they're at the mercy of everybody else until they can do for themselves. So whatever was going on with my mom, what she did or didn't do prior to my consciousness of things, because I'm the oldest of all my siblings.
How many siblings?
There's 6 of us.
6, okay.
So
Wow.
that's certain things about my mother's lifestyle and thoughts was an agitation to me growing up, but not because of what gossips or nothing. It was what I had to deal with firsthand that caused strife between me and my mother.
So just a regular mother-child
it
relationship.
was her. It was times when my mother got remarried, her courtships, whatever. I never liked any guy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. You're the doctor, so I don't know how strange that is. I don't think I'm the only son that never liked other
No,
boyfriends or
you are
stepfathers
not.
or whatever.
Trust me, you're
right?
not. Now, but that caused you to leave home at an early age.
Yeah.
How old were you when you left home?
14.
That's very
But
young.
and I want to say this to my mom's credit. Looking back on it now, and I'm in my 50s. So at the time, it was all like she was the one that was wrong, all that in my mind. So one night I was doing wrong. I started getting in trouble and everything, rebelling against my parents, uncles, grandma, everybody when I was 12. And it escalated. As I got more confidence to do whatever I was going to do, take the whippings, punishments, whatever, I said, okay, I'm just still going to do what I have to do. Then as it escalated, it was a chance with law enforcement getting involved. But to me, I said, well, that's the same as getting a whipping. If, it comes, it comes. If it don't, it don't. I'm just going to do me. So I was doing my little teenage knucklehead stuff, and me and my mother had a big fight. I came in the house one night about 2 o'clock in the morning, and she was like, oh, this is you, God, I got other kids. You setting a bad example. One thing led to another, and I was like, I don't have to take this. I'll leave. And she was like, well, blankety blank, you think you so grown, go.
So you were out of there.
Yeah, and in her mind, after we talked years and years and years before she died, in her mind, she thought, well, I'll let him leave out for a couple nights or whatever, and then he'll come back.
Oh, so that was her way of kind of just saying, let him get out there, see
Yeah,
that
get
it's
cracked
not
in the
all
head,
that,
yeah,
and then come back home.
Don't have a warm
that
bed.
Tough love.
Yeah, he won't have a warm bed in a nice room with stuff in it that she bought, clean clothes, no food, whatever. Right? That's how she was thinking. Or the world is a scary place, so a couple of nights out there, the fun will be over, and he'll bring his ass back home. But I was like, one, I don't want to hear her mouth. I can't give her the satisfaction of me coming back home, because in my mind, my mother, on the way out, my mother was like, yeah, your punk ass will be back. You think you so grown, blah, blah, blah. So, I was like, no, I can't go out like that. And this was at the same time that I had to prove stuff and prove myself on the street where I was trying to go be at anyway. So my mother just threw down another challenge. Right. I didn't add it all up like I can now, but I'm just saying that's what it was. I wasn't going back home. It was times I wanted to go home.
But you were like, I am not giving her the satisfaction. Forget her.
It was times I wanted to go home, and it was some times I was hungry, and I get my brothers and sisters to slip me out a plate or something. But but I never moved back home.
Okay.
And I didn't have any clothes or anything. I tried to take my clothes, and my mother grabbed a garbage bag and was like, I bought this shit. You want to do go do it, but you're not taking this. So I didn't have any clothes.
Oh, wow. So how did you actually manage on your own?
Okay, just without details, the truth.
The truth, Roger. The truth will set you free.
I started committing crimes.
Okay.
That's the truth.
Okay. And for those who know Roger, familiar with Roger, knows his track record, you do know that he has served some time, but
a long time.
But look at where he is now. So even though you were raised by a single mom, you left home at age 14, you got into some trouble, you bounced back, right?
Yeah, and so my mother was single off and on. My mother was married 6 times.
6 times
in her life. But in my childhood, she was only married one other time.
Okay.
By the time she got to her 3rd marriage, I was gone. I was on my own out the house. But I had
before we go, you go to your next story. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest radio station in the world. And we are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. You can also enjoy classic jazz music anytime on WJZZ DetroitRadio.com. And we have Roger Prinzabani here with us, and we are talking about his life and what he is doing now. Yeah. So
I wanted to add this credits to my grandmothers who I had. So my mother off and on was married, not married, but I had supports. She had two brothers. So my two uncles were always there for me. And I had the kind of communication that it wasn't squares. Like my uncles knew about street stuff. They knew about religious stuff, so I could always talk to them, and we had a cool relationship. So and then I had grandmothers, I had other supports. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And back then too, even on the street, I had supports.
And that's, to me, even in the clinical world, having that strong support system is always beneficial to someone who was going through hard times and challenges.
Surviving.
Yeah, to have those people in their life that they know that they can depend on unconditionally. So I'm so glad that you had that in your life. And I think for the most part, it helped develop into the person that you are today, which is an independent business owner.
Yeah.
So tell us about some of the prior businesses that you've had and the success with those, or their lack of success.
The legitimate enterprises.
Well, you know what? You can talk to us about whatever you want.
So let me wrap this up real quick. It is what it is. I did all the criminal stuff I did. It's public record for the most part. Or people who knew me then, they know, right? So I did a lot of criminal stuff. It started out with little petty types things, and then it became to a more organized, major type of thing. I got caught up finally with it because it was a career. I was a career criminal. Okay. Even though I worked other jobs and stuff, it was for more or less fronts or to make my wife at the time settle down or for the insurance, whatever. It was always some kind of catch to why I did it. I never had intentions on living a straight life, and never had an interest in the music like my son or my brother. But anyway, so but that's done. I did it. That's, and even inside, again, supports. I had some serious type of dudes who gave me some more game. That, because when you go from the street, that's one thing.
Right.
So let's call that in a criminal world. Let's call that
that's elementary school.
No, not elementary school. Depending on what you done did, but I would say I went to the master class. Like I graduated college, and now I'm going for the masters. So that's penitentiary, right? And then so got another education, but it was tough love and all that. So I don't want to downplay it, but now I'm past that, so I don't want to keep revisiting that. The only thing
and you shouldn't have to, because the thing is, that's in your past. You served your time.
Yeah.
And
the only
that's years ago.
The only thing I want to say about that is two things. One, everybody that's Joe, citizen, squares, whatever, if you don't have anybody in your family or friend to relate to somebody incarcerated, people are not throwaway people.
That's right.
Somebody can have done something or not do it, but if they had that experience, that badge sticks with them forever. Whatever is on their conscience and in their heart sticks with them forever. Some people just try to make it right. Like me, a lot of stuff I do is my way of personal redemption. Okay. But I just got to say, so people are not throwaway, so I don't want Joe Citizen to think they have to condemn everybody or be afraid of them because they had that experience. And then to be an inspiration to somebody else, you don't have to work at McDonald's. You don't have to settle for less if you have other things about yourself that's going to drive you and motivate you to do something or be something or whatever.
That's
so
right.
that's only thing I got to say. Other than that, the prison thing is dead with me.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to join the conversation, please call in at 313-355-6018. Again, that number is 313-355-6018. And we are in session with Roger Pennsylvania, and we are having such a wonderful conversation. I'm glad that you are really forthcoming about your past, because some people would be kind of ashamed of that. But you are now owner of WJZZ radio station, and you're also you're the chair of the Congress the Chamber of Commerce for Highland Park, right?
Okay, so put it in chronological order. I came home after just shy of 15-year sentence, and in state facility, and I came home in the fall of 2014. But I had a plan, and again, I had some supports there, so I came home to something, and to a household and things like that. My children came of age and became grown by the time I got home, and so my kids helped me as much as they could and as much as I let them. I say that part, as much as I let them, because I feel I owe my children. They didn't owe me anything, and I didn't want to take from them. They were just starting their lives and things. So I knew they cared about me and wanted to help me, but I didn't want to get dependent, and I didn't want to have to get anything from my children. So the plan was I came home and started trying to make moves. But so I took all of what I knew how to do prior to, and I just had to legitimize it. So I always knew how to hustle. I always knew how to promote. I always knew how to talk and negotiate and things like that. So my first thing, I went to Highland Park, because Highland Park was decimated, but it was a building on Woodward Avenue, and I had spent a lot of time on Woodward Avenue, so I knew how to hustle on Woodward Avenue.
That was
right?
kind of your stomping ground.
Right. So
Okay.
in Highland Park, and I owed Highland Park a debt because I did a lot of destructive stuff in Highland Park, but the opportunity was there with the property, things like that. So I got into that, and then that helped me meet one of the city council women in Highland Park, who has since passed away, Mamie Posey Moore. So Mamie Posey Moore was on council, but she was running for mayor, and she needed a headquarters. So she came to me and was like, hey, listen, I know you have some trouble with City Hall, because people don't know it was a cat and mouse thing from my teenage days, and the guys who were regular cops and stuff in my teenage days had became elected officials, and so we had a history that nobody else didn't know about, right? So my name was kind of bad coming in Highland Park, and I was this knucklehead from Detroit. Now he's setting up shop again on Woodward. I had already been on
so
Woodward
they probably
before.
got you up to some shady
Right.
business.
They thought here he comes again, round two, right? And people with means, they have access. They know I just came home anyway. So I was having a hard time in Highland Park with the elected officials. So Mamie was trying to help me, because she was like, look, are you really going to be legitimate? I'm like, yeah. She said, okay, I need a headquarters. You let me use your building for my politics and blah, 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 and I'll try to help you with your business and everything in Highland Park. So long story short, she didn't win the election.
Okay.
But that was my first time ever helping somebody campaign, my introduction to politics.
And what year was that?
2014.
Okay.
And so she was the one who were like, are you registered to vote? I was like, no, never had voted in my life. That was the first
Really?
time. And I'm an honorable vet too. We didn't get to that, but so anyway, I just always thought politics, they're full of shit. So anyway, so I registered to vote, and Mamie was trying to get me to do political stuff, because she always kept wanting my help. And so that led to me hanging around like little political circles. So I was living in Southfield at the time. So I ran for precinct delegate and won, right?
I know you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. So I won, but didn't know anything about it. I was just, to me, it was a stepping stone to like clear my record, clear my name, and try to legitimize myself and
And get back in
meet a few
society.
people. Yeah, change my associations. It was
Right.
my
That was a good
entree into
But you know,
normal
that was
society.
a good plan. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't think that way. So you were very forward thinking, even, back and forth for
Yeah.
2014. So shows how you have grown.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like I said, I grew up in Detroit basically in the 70s, 80s, so I knew how to hustle. But, and know how to calculate real fast the odds and all of that. So, one precinct delegate and didn't know what that meant until I was at one of those political affairs. And, when they tell all the elected officials to stand up. So everybody else stood up, and the person I was with was like, stand up. I was like, no, they said elected officials. They was like, you are an elected official, right? So I stood up, and then because I stood up, that ID'd me. Now people want me to do stuff.
Exact. That part.
Yeah, they somebody
Hello?
called. You have a
Hello,
caller.
caller. Thank you for calling. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm calling from Detroit.
Hi,
and
Mary.
I'm very impressed by your show and the story of the gentleman you're speaking with, and I have a question for the gentleman. I was wondering, now that you have proven that being a returning citizen can be a positive thing in the community and everything. What I'd like to know is, moving forward, do you plan on having a program for other returning citizens?
Good question, Mary.
The answer is yes. That's why I am doing what I'm doing now. So I don't have a specific program like radio or TV program, but I provide a network for people to come on. I do, starting first of the year, I'll have some advocates, some justice reform people that will be producing shows in that regard. So indirectly, yes, I have some plans to help out return citizens. And I have all the time in my, I do a lot of charitable things and a lot of activism things aside from the studio. So, yeah, I support justice reform.
Oh, well, that's very, very good to hear. And I wish you well, and thank you for returning back to the city of Detroit and Highland Park to help the community you started out in. This is a wonderful story.
Yeah.
I'd like you guys to continue and have a great show.
Thank you,
Thank
Mary,
you.
for calling.
I'm going to take these off until we have callers.
That's fine.
But, yeah, and I want to, real quick, so I am a Detroiter. I was born and raised at Henry Ford Hospital, West Side all my life. Actually, that same, not Northwest, right when you cross the Woodward border. I went to Central High School, Durfee Middle School, got kicked out of Durfee, went to Hutchins for a minute.
Why would you get kicked out of school? Roger, have you ever been bullied?
No.
You were telling
I
the
was,
story.
no, I've been
You
beat
were-
up.
You were never
I
bullied.
fought back, so I got beat up, but I wasn't. I never got bullied because I fought back. But I did get beat up and stuff
Okay.
like that. But I beat up people too, and I always had a thing against the bully. So as I got a reputation, as I got older, I always kind of took up for other people.
Okay.
But so that's the answer. Never got bullied, just got beat up because I fought back.
I could imagine you as a kid. Don't mess with me. I'm Rich Petey.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't really want to fight or anything like that. But I did, I had cousins and stuff. And back in those days, you couldn't be a punk.
Okay.
So nobody wouldn't hang out with you or nothing like that. So even when I knew I was going to get beat up, I still had to fight back. And so you fight, stand up for yourself. It wasn't much of a fight sometimes, but so you just get your ass kicked and then, people okay, you cool.
Yeah. Do you hold grudges?
Yes. We already talked about that. And everybody out here in the business world, political world, they know me. They say that's that crazy dude, whatever. But yeah, I am a Detroiter. I always been going through Highland Park all my life. Have friends, relatives there. Have property there now. And I love Highland Park, and Highland Park is the first suburb in the United States. They just took a fall, but they'll bounce back. We'll talk about that on the chamber stuff. But I am a Detroiter, proud of it, and I represent, and I'm doing some stuff for Detroit too.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching In Session with Dr. Thomas with our special guest Roger Pizzabani on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest radio station in the world, and we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. We also have some people that are joining us through our Facebook Live. We have Maureen. I'm sorry, I can hardly read these names, but we have Maureen. We have Noel. We have Dion. We have Roslyn. We have Dr. Sabrina Jackson. Hello,
Hey, Doc.
Dr.
You know
Sabrina
what?
Jackson.
See, with you and Sabrina, Dr. Jackson properly, that's I get the best psych help. and she helped me. I'm an orange person according to her. Her
Dr.
test.
Sabrina Jackson, can you call in and tell
But
us
listen,
about this orange personality of Mr. Roger Pizzabani?
But she'll tell you, I figured out I was orange before she confirmed it and told me. Because I read everything and I was like, oh yeah, I'm an orange person. She said, how do you know that? I just said, I'm an orange person. So then after the class and everything, she was like, yeah, you're an orange person.
So when you say class, she came to the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, she did we had a retreat and she was I don't know what the speaker, teacher, whatever it was classified as.
Okay,
but
she's a facilitator.
Yeah, she came and got us together to help us understand how to work with each other. Like, so to have a successful business or family or whatever, you have to know everybody's strengths and weaknesses.
That's right. That's
so
true.
you can coordinate it to get maximum production out of everybody.
Yes.
So she helped us, or helped me. I don't know what everybody else got from it, but she helped me to understand as the leader, I have to recognize how I'm helped and benefit, and then put people in place, not only so they can help me, but so they can help each other and we can have maximum production and value. So anyway, so I always remembered that and appreciated her for that. And then, you know, as we got to know each other personally, she's like you. She gives me love. She'd be like, "What's your problem?" and stuff like that. So anyway, you know, that's what happens. But you asked about the chamber.
Yes.
And
what does the chamber do?
Okay, so we do the same thing every other chamber of commerce does. We're a non-government independent business association. So we work with government, but we are not beholden to government, and we have no authority over independent government. So as in Highland Park, the mayor is the chief administrator of the city council is there to watchdog him basically, and then the chamber kind of like fills that middle void, because elected officials, for those who don't know, they can't be everywhere at once, and they have to stay into their own jurisdictions and things like that.
Right.
So the chamber can go out and cross lines and deal with anybody, and we kind of try to bring business back to where we work. Highland Park is our headquarters, but we're not restricted to, we can do business all over the world on behalf of Highland Park and the Detroit metro area.
And what does that mean, to do business?
We try to put deals together to better the situation. So if you're in business, we try to help you enhance your business, expand, sustain, just everything in order for you to have a healthy, viable business. We try to advise, do connections, like, you know, with the clientele, the patrons, etc. We just do business, every dynamic and aspect of business. But I started out with the chamber as the founder, along with a renowned judge out of Detroit, and another retired businessman who had experience in the global Big Three. He was with Chrysler as a global trade negotiator. So we started the chamber. I had an idea, being enterprising. I saw a gap, and I did that. You know,
Right.
my street calculations. You know how to
It
recognize.
kicked in.
Yeah,
Mr. Hustle kicked in.
you see something and you could jump on it. So anyway, but I didn't have the expertise, didn't know how to run a board, didn't know parliamentary procedure, none of that. So they did. So I convinced them to help me, and we put it together. That was almost 6 years ago, and we keep growing. COVID slowed us down, and then the basic politics of stuff slowed us down. But the chamber keeps pressing on and growing and getting bigger. And so that's what I'm about in regard to the Chamber of Commerce. But I'm no longer the chair. I stepped down from the chair, and I'm the president CEO. And Dr. Paula Watkins is, she moved from my board of directors to take over as the chair of the chamber. Okay. And then now we're expanding, starting this year, January 2021, we will be activating and operating the Convention Visitors Bureau and the Regional Sports Commission, which Highland Park has never had those two entities in their history. And Highland Park is, like I said, the first suburb in the United States, and I think they'll be turning 103 this year on April the 4th. That's Highland Park's birthday, April the 4th. And I'm pretty sure it's 103. It's either 103 or 104. Okay. And Hamtramck is a year younger than Highland Park, founded by the Dodge brothers. Henry Ford founded Highland Park. It was, the name Highland Park, and as we know it as an independent city, Henry Ford did that. And Henry Ford Sr.
Okay. And Highland Park has a Festival of Lights coming up soon, correct? Can you give us a little minute information
I
about
don't think it's called the Festival
Whatever
of Lights.
It's called.
But
I know it's called
they have a
something
celebration, to what I know, on the 10th, led by Councilwoman DeBlon Jackson and some other officials and stakeholders in Highland Park. As I know, they're going to do their version of like caroling, but a little jazzier and hipper, because DeBlon is a musician.
Oh, okay.
She's a flautist, and I guess she has some vocalists with her and a couple of DJs, whatever. So they're going to do like a hipper caroling thing.
Oh, that is so. And what day is that? December?
On the 10th. Starting in the morning. I think they start at 9. They're going to go to strategic locations. I know they'll be at Glory Supermarket out there. They'll be at Oakwood, I think Oakwood Medical or Oakman. I can't recall, and that's, everybody forgive me because that's a new business.
I think it's
It's either Oakwood or Oakman.
Glory Parks, call us. What's the name of the organization that you work for? I know which one.
And I try to keep up on all the businesses, but they're fairly new, and because of COVID, I haven't had a chance to meet and start a relationship. So forgive me if I got it wrong. It's either Oakman or Oakwood, but it's the newest health facility in Highland Park.
Right, and they're located on Woodward, right across the street from the old McDonald's, which is now Captain J's.
Yeah, and that strip mall where the Aldi is.
Yeah.
Aldi and Tim Hortons and all that. So they'll be there. They're going to do Nandi's. They're going to end up at the rec center at 10 Pitkin. So that's the address, 10 Pitkin, Pitkin Street, the rec center, as everybody in the Parkers know it as the rec center.
Okay.
So right by Reggie McKenzie Field. That's the building in front of McKenzie Field. So anyway, that's the status where I am with the chamber. So what else we have?
Let me ask, how did you come to establish where we are today, WJZZ? We know that WJZZ was rooted in Detroit, and it closed its doors and you reopened them. Tell us a little bit about that history and how you came to now be the new owner of WJZZ. Because I've actually had a lawyer call me and tell, he doesn't own WJZZ. He are you sure? You're gonna get in trouble. And
let's do this. Everybody who wants to know, go to Lara. License Authority and Regulatory Affairs. But go to Lansing, call them, punch it in. You'll see my name and everything come up. So that settles that. If you still don't believe, get you a lawyer and then he can do it. So I wouldn't be here doing everything I'm doing if I was worried about I don't own what I own. So here's the thing. Let me explain it. So first, I got to do a plug. If you want to know the whole version of WJZZ and everything, we are doing a documentary about that. That's in the works now because we have an in-house film crew here, as you know.
Yes.
So we always hustling around here while everybody else is laughing and mocking and gossiping. We still put in the work. So tough titty to all the haters. but that's what we're doing. And if you
I don't
don't,
know what to do with
yeah,
Roger.
yeah, and so
You all better get here and get a show.
Yeah,
As he's gonna talk about you.
yeah. No, I don't talk about the people. I'm talking about the traitors and the haters and all that. You know, I'm not talking about competitors. They're not haters. They're just doing their thing, and
Right.
we all do our thing and elbow each other out the way. I'm talking about the traitorous type of people. So anyway, they know who they are, and they can say whatever they want to say about me too. So that's the controversy for this interview. Everybody try to figure that out. But I don't care about who doesn't like me. I get enough love and I get enough support, so that's what I care about. I don't focus
Roger,
on
the main thing.
But
Why did you reestablish?
Yeah, so
WJZZ?
so this is a thing that's dear to me. I had a friend, Dwight Jefferson, and he was a little older than me. He was a non-vet, and he was like my mentor in jazz. I was putting together my jazz playlist. I wanted it to be top notch for my personal use. Mm-hmm. So he was telling me about different artists, different records and things like that, trying to tighten me up. So in those conversations and in those visits, he introduced me to a lot of musicians and some notable ones. So he introduced me to Wendell Harrison, who happens to be a living legend, a jazz master, and he plays sax, which is my favorite instrument. Right? So I met Wendell, and then Wendell gave me a lot of insight and things like that and encouragement, and we start talking about how Detroit is suffering, the world is suffering because WJZZ went off the air, and that's where everybody used to get their jazz music, jazz education, jazz connection. So that planted the seed. And then in another conversation later, and I see that Alexander Zonjic is in the studio too.
All right.
Another jazz master. So everybody stay tuned. He's coming on after this show. Plug. But anyway, I said,
so that the next show is Jazz Cats, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Honey. So always hustling, always being enterprising. I said to those two, what if we get JZZ and put it back on the air? Wendell kind of dismissed it. He was like, yeah, that'd be cool if you could do it. Probably cost a lot of money or whatever, but cool. And Wendell left. He left it right there. Right. He was good luck with that, but he left, right? So Dwight was like, I don't know nothing about the business part, man. So I said, okay, I'm going to check on it. Long story short, the license from the FCC, another broadcaster, a longtime guy, Detroit broadcaster, held the FM license. But me, again, always trying to stay current. I know and knew at that time that terrestrial radio, AM, FM, was going out, right? So I didn't even want the license. I just wanted to cop the call letters and the logo. So I tried to, deal with him to see if he wanted to partner with me. But long story short, it was up for grabs. The FCC, he had the FCC license, all that, but he wasn't working it. And I didn't need it because I do internet radio. So right now, WJZZ is internet. So people have to figure it out. So the old timers are like, how can I find you on the dial? You can't. You got to have a smart device, and I'm going to give it to you in a minute. So I did all the legal stuff and got the call letters, got to use them. The corporate name is WJZZ, Detroit Jazz Radio Entertainment, LLC. It's the world's oldest jazz station. I went to get the logo, right? I met the guy who designed the original logo, but he didn't own it. But he gave me some info about that, helped me track down the owner who owns the copyright. So I got in touch with them, but I decided not to use it. I was going to try to negotiate for the original logo, but the more I looked at it and it didn't fit the times and different things like that, so I said, no, I'm just going to get a whole new logo. So we designed a new logo, which that's that one there. That's the original.
Right, the one that everybody's seeing behind us?
No, this one here.
Oh.
And I hated that logo, but it was a time thing and some stuff, and I had to do a filing. So that's why we went with that logo. But then, and like I said, I hated that one from day one. So long story short, we ended up getting the logo that we have now. But that was a timing thing and all that. So now we have a new logo, which I own the copyright. It's all original. And I put it back on the air. And it took 4 years to get it going because I didn't know anything about broadcasting, so made a lot of mistakes, got ripped off a lot. And Juan Johnson is here. Juan Johnson came to my rescue when I moved into this building. Juan and I had met. We were talking. He knew I wanted to do it. I said, hey, man, when I'm almost ready. And anyway, so Juan came. Juan is an engineer and a broadcaster. And Juan is the backbone of a lot of people's stuff in Detroit, including people doing what I'm doing. But anyway, Juan came, and me and Juan got cool. But just like me and Juan, we fell out and fought it out in this building, and then we didn't talk for a long time. And then I had to get my lips together and pucker up and kiss Juan's ass.
Oh, see, wait. Pause on that notion.
I'm saying
Pause
that
on
wait,
that
I gotta
notion.
put this
Wait. You are watching In Session on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, and we are streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. And we are with Roger Pizzabani, and he is discussing why he established WJZZ, the station that you are currently listening to.
Yeah, and I say this in a humble way. Because me and Juan fell out. Like, we had a big argument and everything. We fell out. And I thought about it, and I was wrong for how I blew up, right? And so I had to apologize to him. And I had to apologize a few times because he wasn't hearing it. He wasn't hearing it the first time. And I tried to bring in, mediators and all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, Juan and I had a heart-to-heart talk, and he knew why I blew up. It was just, the way I did it or the outcome, but he forgave me because he understood why I blew up. And then I apologized for the words and the way I did it and all this, and then we got back cool. He came in here, he tightened everything up, and he taught me. So everything I know about broadcasting and I mean even little stuff is because of Juan Johnson and One World Media. And so and he's here now, but I want to let everybody know that if you have a big operation, ambition thing like me, or if you just like doing something in your living room, Juan is the guy to call. He does editing. So anything you want to do in regard to broadcasting, not just radio, he does TV, all that stuff. Contact Juan Johnson, and you can contact me if you need to find him.
Now, how many shows do you currently have here at the station?
I got to do a quick count in my head. If we count we had the two live stream stations plus the radio.
So we had WJZZ Cool TV and WDDS.
Yeah, I think 9. I think.
Okay.
But starting in January, we take the training wheels off, and we'll start going with a full round-the-clock schedules, building them out. So as you alluded to and invited, anybody who wants to have your own show, and I'm giving out better deals than everybody.
We're not going to talk about the deals.
Yeah, but
you
call
have to
me.
Call to find out the deals.
I guarantee you, if you want to be an independent broadcaster, uncensored, no FCC regulation, no interference, government interference. You can be your own boss. You can be your own producer, etc. Call me. I'll get you on, regardless what type of show you want to have. We have a outlet for you, and we'll be launching 3 new stations in January.
That's right. So if you are interested in hosting this show, you can contact Roger Pizzabani at 313-355-6018. If he's not available, please leave a message. He will get back with you. Roger, where are we? This station is not in its standalone building, so this is part of a larger project.
Right.
Can you tell us about that?
Okay, so our address is 19730 Ralston Street, Ralston. We're 1 block east of Woodward off of State Fair. landmark wise, we're behind the Meyer. If you know where the Meyer,
The old state fairground.
yeah,
That's usually
we're
what I tell
across
people.
from the old state fairgrounds on the other side of State Fair, across the street from the legendary, infamous Stonehouse Bar,
Yes.
who has its own history that you probably
Oh
can do
my
another
goodness,
show
yes,
on.
absolutely.
But that's where we are
We'll have
in
to have
this
Dave come
in
and
this
do that.
whole area around here. I mean, the lots, the houses, the buildings. It's owned by a private developer, private owner, landlord, who's a real cool dude. I'm not gonna say his name because he's I don't want to put him
understand.
out there like that. But we have a thing called the Ralston Village, and that's everything. This building is the hub. This building is the artist colony. We're trying to colonize this whole area. He owns most of the land around here, the homes, everything. So his vision is to make this a village for artistic, creative people. So in this building, we have a recording studio, we have a professional photography studio. Everything is pro level. We have the cyber, internet, radio, and live streaming, which is separate. We have WJZZ radio station, that's internet, and then we have WJZZ Cool TV, which is where we are right now. This is our live stream studio. So I put JZZ back on the air because it was missed. It was needed. I love jazz. My mom used to own the Jazz West, was a legendary jazz bar in the 70s right next door to Mozambique.
Oh,
So
I remember that.
yeah. So I've been around musicians all my life, literally, and this is just what I like to do. I hate 9 to 5 and all of that kind of stuff. I like to be my own man, my own boss, do what I want to do when I want to do it. I aspire for great things, and that's what I want to do, and I can only do it with great people. So that's why I want everybody with the talent to come here. Either if you already have it, bring it with you. If you want to get it cultivated and learn and develop yourself, come on down here. This is non-judgment. We have all types of people down here, every type of race. I'm a card-carrying Democrat, right? I'm not all into fanatic politics, but I'm a conscious voter and supporter, stakeholder. So I'm a card carrying Dem, right? I don't like everything the Dems do, and I only vote in my own best interest. But I identify as a Dem, and I can't stand some other types of politicians, not the party. Some particular politicians,
Well, Roger, wait,
but
where are you going with this?
I'm just saying to invite people to come down here. It's a guy. He's a African American Republican, ultra conservative, and I tell him, hey man, do your thing. It doesn't matter about my personal thing.
He has a show. What?
His Facts and Opinions with J.R. Williams. And so I said that to say, first, tune in to his show and Dr.
Well,
Thomas show.
We're
And
going to
everybody.
give you a lineup if you have it of the
But
shows
yeah,
in the days and
but everybody
times.
can come here. That's my point. That's why I brought that up. I don't have to personally like it. Just if I think it's entertaining, if I think it has a purpose, if I think it's a void to fill, you can be here. So that's how I want to roll. So it's no bias or anything. And if you're talented creatively as an artist, then except for certain genre musics, but anyway, call me. We'll work it out. And I don't run. It's somebody else that runs the photography and the recording, but we're all down together. But I can put you in touch with those people if that's what you do.
Well, because that's part of the colony, and that's what we do. We all work together and help each other out. It's not just one entity. This is a family.
Yeah, and Roy Fleming and Right Touch Productions, that's who runs the photography studio and recording studio.
All
Right here in the building. And I call this building the mothership, because if you know about a definition of a mothership, then you'll understand why I affectionately refer to this building as the mothership. And we have a bunch of stuff growing, so stay tuned, check out the website, etc. So I know we're running out of time fast, so what else you want to get at me with on this little bit of time?
I don't want to get at you at nothing, Roger. You actually were very informative. You gave us a whole lot to think about. I am looking forward to the movie that you're going to be doing and other projects that you're working on. And I would like to thank our audience for tuning in and listening to In Session. You can hear us each and every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. with myself, Dr. T, and Dr. Fishta, who was not present here today and will be out until the beginning of this year, working out some family issues. But we miss him, and he actually is watching us live on Facebook.
Hey, Dr.
So,
Fishta.
hey, Dr. Fishta, thank you for joining us.
Do I have time to plug? Yeah, we have time.
No, you don't have time.
I can't have time. Well,
this is my show.
I know, but
so thank you all for watching, and we will see you
now,
next
Paige,
week.
I got to plug
Have
this
a good
station.
evening.
Oh, man.
Because we were out of time.
I know.
Seriously. You can plug it on Facebook.
Okay, Facebook people, this is how you tune in to WJZZ Radio. Go to your Google search bar. Do it like an email. No gaps in there. Just punch WJZZ DetroitRadio.com. No gaps. Remember, WJZZ DetroitRadio.com. Hit the